Hey, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for checking in. Wanted to make another quick video. I know a lot of you guys probably check out the videos for all the Bronco 2 content, but I wanted to show another option for guys that maybe can't find good clean Bronco 2s or just don't like them, maybe want to have something a little different. So I thought maybe today we would explore other ideas on what makes a really cool off-road truck. So bonus points if you're a subscriber and you happen to recognize this truck from some of my older videos. But what we have here is my buddy Eric's 93 Explorer XL. And if you look through some of the older footage on the channel, you'll see we did a 3-part series on installing a James Duff lift on this truck. Eric picked up this truck down south, fairly low miles. Pretty clean truck. It was all stock, and we did, I don't think it took a weekend to put the lift kit on it. And since then, Eric has just done a bunch of work to this thing. You can see in some of the older videos where we went wheeling with it. It had the 4-liter 5-speed setup in it. Since then, Eric has made some pretty significant changes to the truck. So let's find out what we got here, because I think this is a really cool option. If you're a Ford guy and you're into wheeling but you need more room than a standard cab Ranger or a Bronco 2, I mean, this is almost like a alternative JK or JL in my opinion. And you get the sweet, what I think is sweet, the TTB front suspension. So let's get some details on this thing. All right, Eric, so this is your truck. Tell us a little bit about it.
It's a 93 Explorer, like you already said. It's a 5-speed manual. It now has a V8 swap. It's a 5-liter 302. I bought it almost a year and a half ago now. Oh, actually, probably closer to 2 years now.
Yeah, it has.
I bought it in Georgia, sight unseen. I had a Ranger before that. That I had purchased the lift kit and the tires and wheels for. And I had a kid, and I can't put a kid in a Ranger. So I sold the Ranger, and I was looking specifically for a 5-speed Explorer, and they were really hard to find. So I found this in Georgia, and I had it shipped up, sight unseen, just hoping that the dealer was honest. Paid $2,000 for it. It had 75,000 original miles.
Wow.
And he said there was no rust. When we got here, it was pretty close to no rust. There's some underneath a little bit, but nothing major.
Yeah, it's I mean, God, for Michigan standards, this is mint.
Yeah, this is as clean as it gets for Michigan.
Yes.
And for $2,000, how can you pass that up?
All right, absolutely.
So I drove it around for three months or so, all stock, maybe not even that long. And then I brought it over here, and you helped me work your magic, and here we have it.
So of course, Dan with Sarge, the Bronco 2, is part of our circle. And right around the time Dan was upgrading his truck to a straight axle, it pretty much just kind of fell in your lap that you ended up with getting all of Dan's James Duff takeoff parts, right?
Right. So this is a Dana 35 TTB out of a Bronco 2, but there's really no difference. The Explorer came with a Dana 35, but Dan's truck already had all the good stuff done to it. It's trussed. It's clearanced for the extend the passenger side shaft to pass through and get more flex. It has 48 gears in it. Dana 44 knuckles, Warren locking hubs.
So it's got the knuckles with the bigger bearings and the...
Yep, F-150 brakes.
Oh, yeah, the bigger brakes, too. Yeah.
It's 5 on 5.5 wheels.
Bonus.
And then the only thing I needed to buy that it didn't come with Dan stuff was the coil buckets.
So, seeing how I know a little bit about this build, I know James Duff, they sell these TTB lifts and they list them on their website for Bronco 2s, Rangers, and Explorers. But I remember we did run into specific things with this truck that made it a little different than any of the Bronco 2s that I've done, as far as the way the frame was built.
Yeah, the frame is wider. It's the same width all the way back instead of where the Broncos and the Rangers kind of cut in.
Right.
So like the spring perches and shackles are under the frame instead of over the frame.
Right.
Next to the frame. And then it's boxed almost all the way back to the front doors. So just mounting some of the things you can't bolt it through, we welded a few things on instead just because of that. And
right.
then the cross member is basically the same, but there's just, like you said, a couple small little differences.
Right. I remember the front frame rail being boxed on this. The James Duff kit, when you do the shock mounting brackets, they want you to just kind of through bolt them, the frame rails. This one, you really couldn't do that, so we had to do more welding on this than true bolt-on stuff. But it is a great lift kit and a great option for these TTB trucks. Not everything on the planet needs to have 1-ton Dana 60s solid axles, I don't think.
And then the front frame horns are different than the Bronco because they're fully boxed as well. And so making a front bumper for it is just a little different because it's narrower.
And that's a bumper you made yourself, right?
Yep. We just had some 1 3/4 DOM and bent it up.
That is a sweet looking, unique bumper. Got some nice recovery points. Winch tucked in there really nice out of the way. I know I've seen some of these trucks where the winches stick out way too far and kill the approach angle, so that's a nice tucked in setup there. Nice.
Then we have the same type of bumper on the rear.
Let's take a look at that. So here's the rear bumper you made. Again, nice receiver on there. 2 really nice recovery points, and
we tucked the exhaust up inside it.
Yeah, I like that. That's a nice touch sticking out like that. And I tell you what, this thing sounds really good. So what tires and wheels this thing got on it?
Mickey Thompson Classic 3s, 15x10s, and then Falcon Wild Peak MTs, MT 101s, 35 1250s.
35s on an Explorer. And I remember we had to do a little bit of trimming on that the first time out at Rocks and Valleys.
Yeah, I brought a grinder with me because it kept rubbing. Mostly just the inner fender, but the pinch weld on the inside definitely rubbed, so we cut that off, and then we just bent part of the fender in to give it a little bit more clearance there. But it doesn't rub at all anymore, and it rides really nice.
So probably if you did a truck like this and you just put 33s on it, it would probably be pretty perfect, wouldn't it? Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, you probably wouldn't even have to put the spacer in the front. For some reason, with the Bronco 2, the front end wasn't as low. I'm not sure why, but maybe I don't think the 4-liter weighs any more than a 2.9, but I ended up putting another 2-inch spacer under the spring to get it up farther so the truck's at level.
You see that silver spacer there? But it does have a perfect stance now because of that. And the width of this thing is what always gets me, is how the stance of this, the wheels sticking out. It's almost kind of Jeep-like, the way the wheels push out and protect the body of the truck itself. Actually a lot better than my Bronco 2. It's kind of cool. So what do we have in the rear end for this truck?
Stock Explorer springs. I just did spring over. The factory it's spring under. So we did a spring over swap. That's it.
Factory springs.
Everything else is stock. So it rides really nice. It's nice and flexy.
So we got a solid diff cover, disc brakes, axle still full width. So you got some Duff shocks under here. Super simple setup. I mean, and you could literally do this even with the original drum brake 8.8 too, right?
Yep. There's no difference. I just wanted some discs.
Right. That's very cool. So moving on to the interior of the truck, I see something sticking out here that looks a little different than most of these trucks. We got would this be considered a triple stick setup?
I guess so. Yeah, triple stick. Most guys rave about twin sticks, but manual transfer case, 5-speed, but we have a manual transfer case and a twin stick Dana 20.
Dana 20 from an early Bronco. That's definitely different for something like this.
Yeah.
And we have a 5-speed manual trans. We have the air-fuel ratio gauge, and that's a nice little switch panel there.
Yeah, actually custom made that. I 3D printed it. I have plans, open source, on a Dropbox. So if you're interested in them, we can put a link to that Dropbox in the description.
Oh, that's cool.
And it says Explorer in it, but you can get them plain. You can get them for a Ranger, or you can get it for a Bronco 2. We made them all. So it has 4 switches in it, and then a 12-volt setup. And it bolts right where your ashtray used to go. So this will fit anything 89 or newer, up to 89 to 94 Explorers, and then 89 to 92 Broncos. And
you might as well, because nobody smokes anymore, right?
Right.
So this is really clean in here. You said how many miles around this truck?
75,000.
75,000.
This truck is probably a 9 out of 10 as far as clean goes.
Yeah,
There's
definitely.
one small stain on the front carpet by the shifter, but other than that, it's really, really clean.
And as far as the gauges, everything
works. Everything works as it should. It's all factory gauges. The factory speedometer plugs right into the Dana 20. Just got to pick the right gear. And then the Speedo is an F-150 speedometer with the tach is an F-150 tach with a 5-liter. But then all the other gauges, they hook right up.
Okay, well, let's take a look under the hood, see what you got going on here. All right, so under the hood, this is not a 4-liter anymore, I see.
Nope. 302 V8 out of a 1990 Lincoln Mark 7. It's got ported E7 heads, pedestal rocker arms, stock ratio 1.6.
Roller rockers, right?
Roller rocker, yep. Factory cam and everything, but it's a healthy engine.
So stock, these are like 225 horse, but I see you also have some headers on there.
Yeah, Advanced Adapters makes a decent set of headers that fit the swap pretty good.
I know on all the Facebook groups, I always see people talking about V8 swapping Rangers and Bronco 2s and stuff, and they always, what headers are you using? What headers should you use? I have these same headers on my Bronco 2. I know Dan has them on Sarge. What are your opinions on these headers?
They fit excellent. I tried using a set of Fox body headers. I tried using the factory Explorer cast manifolds. Nothing fits as good as these. They required no modifications, and they fit great. Some people complain about how they look because it's more of a log style.
Right.
But I don't know that you could beat the flow on them. They certainly flow better than the cast manifolds.
I know they're a little more expensive, and I don't know if that's what deters most people is you're spending good money on these, but I think they're worth every penny, personally.
So I used as much factory things as I could. It's a factory Fox body harness, and then all the Explorer plugs and factory wire colors were all grafted into it. So everything is stock. So you could take this engine and trans combo and wire harness and pull it out and put it into any other Explorer, and it would plug right in.
So it's all plug and play. So, but I see, so you have, this is an Explorer front dress, as they call it, which has the stubbier water pump. You have the bigger alternator, the better power steering pump, and a good size clutch fan on there too. So an Explorer motor would be a great donor to start with, but you're using, what is this, a distributor out of like a Fox body Mustang, right?
Yep.
And that's why you can use a Fox body harness.
Yeah.
So electronic wise, there's nothing Explorer used for this swap, right?
No, Fox body harness, and then I used a standalone ECU called a Micro Squirt.
The old Micro Squirt.
You're using the same thing in your Bronco.
Yep, love it.
It works awesome. This is what most guys get hung up on the manual swap, is they don't know what computer to use. And it's kind of expensive to get the factory Explorer computer tuned for a manual. So this works great. It's a standalone ECU. The 97 to 03 4.2 liter V6 F-150 trans is what I used.
Okay, 5-speed.
For the 5-speed. And then I bought an Advanced Adapters ZF5 to Dana 20 adapter, but it fits the M5OD. No modifications needed. They just don't list it as fitting the M5OD, but it does.
What do you do for like the flywheel and clutch and?
Everything's off of a 95 F-150.
Okay.
Including the starter.
Starter, okay.
That was a little bit, I didn't know which one to use, and I started with the V6 starter. It doesn't mesh with the flywheel.
Okay. So just basically all either junkyard or part store stuff to do it. Nothing really custom other than the advanced adapter piece.
Right. And the radiator.
And the radiator.
So AFCO
right.
or James Duff is the same radiator. They build one, but it's like $650.
Okay.
There's a company called Northern Radiator that started building. I'm sure it's just kind of a basic copy. We did modify this radiator slightly.
I see that. The neck's on there?
Yeah, the neck came out at an angle, so we put a curve on it.
Okay.
And then the upper radiator hose, it came out and the fan would hit it. So we capped it and then put this other tube on it to miss the fan.
Okay. So it kind of lays in there just how mine does in my Bronco too. The fan is just a little bit higher. I know I wasn't able to get a factory style looking fan shroud. I just have a little kind of lip just basically to protect your fingers from getting chopped off. But I don't really have any cooling issues. Does this one?
No, it stays it has a 180 degree thermostat in it. And it sits 183, 184 degrees. Sometimes when it's hot, it goes up to 195, but that's it. Never gets hot.
And is that the factory original airbox?
That is a factory 93 Explorer airbox, factory air filter. And this is actually the Explorer MAF that I cut off and welded a piece on to get it as close to factory as possible.
That is slick. It's very nice. And then, was this truck AC originally, or was it AC delete?
Yeah, it was AC, factory AC, and I still really want to put AC in it. The airbox does fit.
Okay.
If you trim it, you can clear the engine and still fit the AC airbox with the evaporator in it. I just haven't gotten around to putting the condenser and everything back in.
What motor mounts did you use to make this happen?
So this is factory 4-liter motor mounts, frame side. And then I bought a set of Rick's Rangers V8 spot plates. It's just a 1/4-inch plate with a 6-inch groove cut in it, so you can slide the engines forwards or back anywhere you need it to put it. They bolt in. They're $55. It's the easiest option you can use.
Sits in there really nice too.
Yep. And I was able to use the factory trans mount as well.
Oh, well, bonus. All right. So I know what you're thinking. You're seeing that nice V8 in there, nice sweet 302. What does it sound like? Well, let's find out. That sounds sweet. A little tip just poking out there. Wow, that sounds nice. Eric, what muffler is that?
It's a Flowmaster Super 44.
Flowmaster Super 44. I mean, seriously, if that was painted black and it had a fan shroud on it, you wouldn't even think that this wasn't factory installed. This is so nice, sounds so good. Let's hear it one more time. Hell yeah. All right, your next question is probably, how does it drive? Well, here we are. Let's take it for a spin and see what it feels like. And I'm not using my gimbal for this, so it'll kind of show a true sense of what it's like going down the road, I guess. I just can't get over that exhaust sound. It sounds so good.
Excellent. Are you kidding me?
That is not getting edited out either. That is staying. Wow. Yeah, she don't move like no 4-liter. That's for sure. Ripping gears in Explorer. This is crazy. For 35-inch tires, mud terrains, how smooth this thing goes down the road. I mean, there's no problem living with this daily, is there?
No, it's great.
has a finger on the steering wheel. This is about what, 6 inches of lift, 6.5 inches of lift?
To be 7.
7 inches of lift on 35s. It literally drives nicer than my brand new Super Duty. This is crazy. So again, I know guys personally that have Jeeps on 37s, 35s that do not go down the road half this well. No death wobble, no shaking. It's just nice. Man. Cool. So, does this have sway bars on it still?
It just has a front sway bar.
A factory front sway bar.
Factory front.
This rides way better than my Bronco 2.
And the cool part is too, I use the rear sway bar end links for the front after I lifted it.
So the rear links go on the front to use the stock sway bar with this much lift. That's crazy. Well, not crazy, but it's probably cool.
Well, it's all factory parts, right? You don't have to buy something special.
True, right. And then the nice benefit of these trucks is the turning radius. These are not like other brands of four-wheel drive trucks. I mean, we could literally do circles right here on this road and probably never touch a white line. That is a huge benefit for off-roading. And actually, in some of the other videos, you can see Eric with this thing, kind of thread this thing through some trees and around some obstacles, and they do amazing. Look, I think those Jeep guys are just looking at us. Maybe they weren't.
It does get a lot of thumbs up from everybody. I got waved at by a Jeep today.
But did you get a duck yet?
They probably thought I was an XJ.
Right. That's a funny looking Cherokee. Well, this is awesome. So, super simple swap, way more power. I mean, this thing's probably got 325 foot-pounds of torque, more than likely. I don't know what a 4-liter is off the top of my head, but
It's 200.
200.
It's 160 horsepower, 200 foot-pounds.
So you're talking way more power, way more torque. This is definitely something you need to look into. You're looking to build something cool. Well, now we're home.
Back at the Bronco farm.
Yeah. Yeah, we have issues here. There's no doubt about that. Those are videos for another day. All right, so my truck, I have a solid axle Dana 44 in mine. I had a TTB truck before. I had a 90 Bronco 2 that had the same James Duff Stage 3. It was a very old one. But that truck drove amazing. I could drive it. I drove it 40 miles to work every day on the expressway. Drove like a stock truck. Doing the straight axle on Gilligan, I have been a little disappointed in. I mean, I could drive it. I drove it on the expressway. You've seen some of the other videos down in Tennessee. We did some long travels on the expressway, whatever. But this truck here, I've rode in this one here recently with the TTB setup, and I'm really impressed with how this drives down the road. What's your opinion of it, how it drives, and how much have you drove it?
So for about a year, this was my daily driver with the lift on it. I drove it every day to work. I drive 47 miles to work one way. And I drive it all the way there and all the way back. 75 miles an hour down 75, which is
I-75
super
sucks.
bumpy. Yeah, it's terrible. Through Detroit, and it drives great. No issues at all. I don't even have a steering stabilizer. It rides awesome.
And no death wobble in this setup either. So that's a huge bonus too.
Yep. I can drive this truck anywhere. I've driven it 4.5 hours north to go wheeling, and then driven it all the way home. No issues. The only thing I've done is bent a tie rod, so I could probably upgrade the steering. But other than that, this truck does anything you ask it to. It keeps up with most Jeeps.
So, being that this is a longer wheelbase truck compared to a Bronco 2, something like this it's just going to ride better. But as far as off-roading, a lot of my fears in my Bronco 2 is I pretty much wheel with a group of Jeep guys, and 95% of them are all 4-door JKUs. When you start getting into some of these really sketchy hill climbs and descents, whatever, that short wheelbase does get real sketchy. Actually, you can see a couple videos back me standing mine up on the rear bumper climbing a hill. Something like this is going to be super stable off-road, right?
Yep, it's great. Any hill climb, I've never felt unsafe. It's never tipped or teetered. The wide stance with the TTB, especially with the 44 knuckles, keeps it nice and wide, and it feels real stable.
So if you're like us, if you're a Ford guy at heart and you want to build something really cool for off-road, but you just don't have it in you to buy that Jeep, you know, clean Bronco 2s are not easy to come by anymore. Rangers, the same. How many millions of these did Ford make, you think?
Oh, 3 or 4 million.
And what's the generation? What are the years?
So first gen Explorers, 91 to 94.
91 to 94, and that's the TTB.
90 to 94, because it was a crossover year with the Bronco 2.
That is right, 1990. So there's a bunch of these out there, and we've shown that a James Duff, which my opinion is the best lift kits out there for these trucks, period. Unless you're just looking to lift a truck for that look. But if you want a suspension system that actually works off-road and rides nice, this is where it's at. So this is a great alternative to a Bronco 2, maybe a short box Ranger or something. You fit your whole family in it. It's got a great stance. It drives down the road basically like a stock truck. And how much did you pay for this truck?
$2,000.
$2,000.
Total, I did some budget shopping. I got some good deals on some things, but total into the whole truck, I only have $7,000.
$7,000.
Can't really beat that.
No, that's hard to beat for something that's this capable too. So, any plans for it after this?
I need to build some rock sliders. A factory roof rack. We have a video. I went over a log climb, and then the spare tire was up there and it flew off. So I'm gonna build a really nice.
So don't put a 35-inch spare on your roof.
Right, don't do that. So I'm gonna build a really nice basket using the factory points on the roof. I need to build a spare tire carrier for the rear bumper. Other than that, though, I don't think I'm gonna do much. I'm probably gonna go to a 17-inch wheel at some point. More of a modern look, and the tire options are vast with a 17. But upgrade to some MS 2020 shocks probably, or some Bilsteins. I haven't really decided which ones. But other than that, no, there's no real options.
Well, cool, man. Well, just wanted to show something different, another option for you guys. You know, get out there, do some exploring, check out some other options. Doesn't always have to be a Jeep, doesn't have to be a Ranger, doesn't have to be a Bronco 2. This is a viable option to have a pretty sweet off-road truck that you can still daily. So anyway, I want to thank Eric for bringing it out today and taking me for a ride. And yeah, we'll catch you on the next video, man. So thanks.